What's up, Ninja Nerds? My name is Julianna Holmes. I am a 4th degree black belt, and I like to make videos on martial arts media, philosophy, lifestyle, and techniques. If that sounds like something that you're into, then go ahead and smash that subscribe button. Go ahead, I'll wait. Everybody ready? Let's get into it. So today I want to discuss with you my kind of philosophy and my ideas of practical self-defense coming from a woman's perspective, although this doesn't just apply to women. I'm going to give you a rundown of all of the things that I believe it takes to become a competent self-defender. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is don't get into a fight. I know that sounds so obvious and so almost like a cop-out, right? But if you notice, especially most of your traditional martial arts, whether it be karate or jiu-jitsu or whatever the case might be, there's always a discussion about fighting. Violence is the last resort. It's the last thing you want to rely on. And there's good reason for that. I mean, number one, if you are a sane, sober, moral individual, we shouldn't want to hurt other human beings, right? That shouldn't be something that is first and foremost on our minds. We're learning self-defense. We're learning how to protect ourselves in the event that something bad happens to us. It's no different than having a plan for an emergency situation, like if a fire breaks out. Do you have a fire extinguisher at home? Do you have smoke detectors, right? Those types of things. You're not hoping that a fire breaks out, but you're going to be prepared just in case, right? In the same way, I don't ever want to get into a fight. I don't ever want anything bad to happen where I have to hurt somebody. But we live in a dangerous world, and taking the proper precautions and learning the things you need to learn to be prepared is important. So that's the attitude that I've always come at martial arts with, and I've always come at self-defense with. The best way to avoid getting hurt in a violent altercation is to avoid violence in the first place. If we live a life of peace, then more than likely, we're not going to find ourselves in those situations. It's like the old expression, I would rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. You prepare for the worst, hope for the best. And there are a lot of steps that we can take to avoid those kind of scenarios. Now, if you have the ability to live in a safer neighborhood, that's a good idea, obviously. We don't want to be around a criminal element if we can avoid it. Living in a house or an apartment with proper locks on the doors, if you can afford to have some kind of an alarm system, security cameras, all those things are a great benefit for you. If you do have the ability to care for a big dog, I have 2 big dogs and a little dog at home. And they're a great deterrent for anybody who might be sneaking around the property. So just having those things in mind before you ever step foot in a martial arts class, those things will help you. And going right along with that is making good decisions. It's not a good idea to go traipsing around in the bad part of town at 2 o'clock in the morning. Nothing good happens after 11 p.m., okay? If you're going out to the bad part of town, hitting the bars or whatever the case might be, you're looking for trouble. So it's always important to make good decisions, stay of sound mind. Me personally, I don't really go out and drink anymore. That's just not part of my lifestyle, so a lot of things can be avoided from just avoiding that. But let's assume for a moment that now, despite all of our best efforts, we've been making good decisions. We have, locks on our doors and alarm systems, and we are not going in the bad part of town, but somehow violence finds us. So what do you need? What do you need to know? What do you need to do? I'm not going to sit here and promote my martial art as best. I believe that my martial art is best for me. I have a few martial arts systems that I consistently train in because they're the ones that I enjoy, they're the ones that I'm knowledgeable in, and they're the ones I'm going to stick with for a lifetime. Really, it boils down to a couple of factors. Number 1, striking. Number 2, grappling. Number 3, weapons. Okay? You need to have some experience in all of these areas to be a competent self-defender. You don't need to be an expert in every one of those areas, but you should have some degree of competency. So first and foremost, let's talk about grappling. Jiu-jitsu is all the rage these days. Ever since the UFC came out back in the day, everybody has been raving about Brazilian Jiu-jitsu, and for good reason. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioners have the ability to use their techniques, their leverage to overpower opponents who would otherwise be too powerful for them to handle. And so jiu-jitsu is a great art for grappling skills. Jiu-jitsu lives almost exclusively on the ground, which, they do say that 70% of fights end up on the ground. It is true that in a fighting situation, you're not always going to be sure of your footing. You might be on uneven terrain. You might get knocked down, thrown down, pushed, tripped, whatever. And so if you're on the ground and the bad guy follows you there, you better have some sort of a skill set to get yourself back to your feet. So having some form of grappling training, be it jiu-jitsu, be it Western style wrestling, whatever the case is, some kind of grappling skills to at least get you back to your feet is so important. Now, if you're the type of person who loves BJJ, then by all means train it. You need to train with something that you're going to stick with for the long haul. For whatever reason, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu never really hooked me. I never really got excited about it, and I was never really addicted to it. Maybe that's a me problem, but you're going to need to train in the art that you will stick with for a very long time. If Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is your bag, awesome, then stick with it. Having said that, you do need to have some amount of skill in the striking arts. You need to have the ability to stand up, deflect strikes, protect yourself from strikes, head movement, blocks, parries, as well as being able to throw combinations of your own and being able to generate enough power to do some kind of damage. Even if you're a woman, I've trained a lot of women, and a lot of times when they come in, especially if they never had any kind of an athletic background before, just getting them to hit the pad, a lot of women don't know how to generate power or force in their strikes. And so, yes, a woman is going to be limited. I'm half my brother's size. My brother and I go lift weights together, and he can easily double what I can lift. And whether you're a woman or just a smaller statured man, you can still, through learning proper body mechanics and things of that nature, you can learn to put all of your force behind those two knuckles, and if you're hitting to vulnerable target areas, then you can deliver at least some amount of force to stun the opponent and to do whatever else you got to do. Now, striking arts can look like karate, taekwondo, Muay Thai kickboxing is phenomenal. Boxing, just Western style boxing, is phenomenal. It's less about the style of the art and more about learning the proper body mechanics, learning how to deliver force with your strikes, and being able to integrate that into your self-defense arsenal. Whether you're a smaller statured male or you're a female, learning how to deliver forceful kicks, whether it be from karate, taekwondo, Muay Thai, is an invaluable weapon in your arsenal because your legs are every bit, if not more powerful than even a big, strong guy's arms. So having the ability to deliver forceful kicks, whether it's to the legs or to the head, you are giving yourself a great self-defense tool. Let's discuss the real-world practicalities of real-world self-defense. As a woman, I don't go anywhere without self-defense tools at my disposal. Okay, the weapons are the great equalizer. I am a weapons person. I have trained in, of course, Kobudo weaponry and in the Okinawan karate arts. I have trained a little bit in Kendo, Kinjutsu. I have trained in Arnis and Kali, Filipino martial arts, which deal with stick and blade. And I also train in Texas martial arts, also known as Pujitsu, aka Gun Fu, I am blessed to live in the great state of Texas, and so that is something that is available to me. Of course, everybody has to do what's right for them. If you don't live in a place that allows that, or if it's harder for you to get access to those things, or perhaps you're just not yet comfortable training in Pujitsu, well, then that's okay, but please understand that really is, especially for women, for smaller statured people, that is the great equalizer. That it doesn't matter how big or strong the bad guy is. Every martial art always wants to promote that, we're the martial art that can, the little guy can beat the big guy. Well, there's really only two martial arts that can profess that consistently, in my opinion, and that is Texas martial arts and Filipino martial arts. Knives and guns, that's it. Those are the great equalizers. So having the ability to protect yourself in a lethal force encounter is critically important. Now, this takes a lot of mindset work. It takes a lot of thought and consideration. I don't ever want to hurt anybody. I'm actually a very peaceful person. I don't want to ever have to hurt anyone. But I understand that as a 5'4", 125, 130 pound female, if I am accosted by somebody who's, 6'2", 6'4", 220 pounds of muscle. I mean, they got 100 pounds on me practically, right? That's not uncommon to see, a guy walking around who's literally twice my size. If that's the case, my life could be in danger, And so having the option available to protect myself in a lethal force encounter is something I want to do. The samurai warriors were known for training with every weapon that they had available to them. And the moment that Europeans introduced firearms, they were all about it. So I don't think it's, it goes against any kind of code or anything along those lines. It's just practical self-protection. And I want to be a sane, sober, moral, competent self-defender. And that means also making good decisions and only, using my self-defense tools when they are absolutely critically necessary. Another self-defense tool, do I have it on? I do have it on me. So you need something for lethal force, be it a blade or a firearm or both. But then also you need something for, non-lethal force encounters. And one of my favorite things to carry with me at all times is pepper spray. I'm not sponsored or anything like that. This is POM pepper spray, P-O-M, and it's a very strong formulation. This comes very highly recommended from lots of self-defense talking heads, I guess you could say. And having something that is non-lethal, something that, is not going to do any permanent damage, but is going to de-escalate a fight very rapidly, super important. But having the ability to give somebody a good dose of the hot sauce is a fantastic self-defense tool, and I recommend that everybody carry hot sauce, pepper spray. I even gave it away as stocking stuffers a couple times at Christmas. So my personal philosophy of self-defense is essentially one of managing the distance from the threat. If you're making good lifestyle choices and you're living, away from, danger and bad neighborhoods and things of that nature, if that is something available to you, then that's step one. Just don't be where the bad things happen. Make good choices. Don't go to that neighborhood at 2 o'clock in the morning to go to the bar. That's not a good plan. Manage the distance between you and the threat. Locks on your doors, security turns, big dogs, cameras, whatever the case might be. All of those things are managing distance from the threat. And then having a distance management self-defense tool, aka a firearm, will allow you to stop the threat before they get close enough to you to do bodily damage, right? So having the ability to stop them when they are, 10 yards away is a lot better than having to stop them when they're on top of you. So that's, again, nothing more really than distance management. The person that controls the distance controls the fight. And of course, if it's not a lethal force measure, not lethal force encounter, you do have the option for the hot sauce as well, and that still gives you a little bit of distance from the threat. And so the bad guy, the threat, has to get closer and closer and closer. They've gotten into your neighborhood, your side of town. Now they're in your neighborhood. Now they're at your door. Now they're kicking down your door. And all of your steps of distance management have to come into play to protect you. And it's only at the last resort scenario where you have to use empty hands against an attacker, be it striking or be it grappling, because hopefully the threat has never had the opportunity to get to you in the first place, because you just didn't allow that to happen. You planned your life carefully enough to where the threat couldn't get to you. And so there you have it. That's my basic philosophy, my basic idea of keeping yourself safe, how to be a competent self-defender. No, you don't need to be a world champion. You don't need to be a master black belt. All you really need are to make some good decisions about your lifestyle. Do train in some sort of self-defense, whatever fulfills you, makes you happy, whatever's going to keep you coming back for more, really. I mean, I suppose we could get into the nitty-gritty of which martial arts are best, but at this stage in the game, you need a solution for striking, you need a solution for grappling. And you can choose which one of those is your primary unarmed self-defense art. And then beyond that, weapons are a great equalizer. You need a lethal force option and you need a non-lethal force option. I think that pepper spray is a great everyday carry for every single person, man, women, everybody. So That's how I keep myself and my family safe on a regular basis, and that's why I don't normally find myself getting into situations where somebody's going to try to hurt me. If you liked today's video, then please don't forget to like the video, share it with all your friends, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.